right, all right. Good evening, good afternoon, lovely, lovely people. It's amazing to see you. I have missed you guys. It's been a minute. I think today we are privileged to have you, and we have the blessings of rain. The whole of Nairobi is actually raining, and I think other parts of the country as well are raining. That is in Kenya. I don't know what's happening in Kampala. So our colleagues in Kampala, what is happening on your end? And for those from Rwanda as well, what's going on in Rwanda and Tanzania as well, and any part of the world where you're tuning in from? What's going on there? You can let us know on the chat what is going on your end. So today I'm very, very excited about the topic we're about to discuss. It's really, really interesting as we were discussing with the speaker on what it means. It was quite intriguing to see us think about the job that we do. And yes, how are you from Tanzania, Susan? Thank you very much for joining us as well. How is Tanzania? I'm coming to your conference next week, by the way. I hope to meet you there, Susan, and of course, Simon Frank. Thank you for always being here. He says it's also raining down in Tanzania. So I think it's the entire East Africa where the rains have the blessings of the clouds, or the clouds have opened. That's what we say. So good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Jacinta, if you can help me with the projection, or rather just keep it ready, the flyer for the mentorship program. But good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Grace Nzula. I'm an HR consultant with a company called Atara Solutions. I am the host of Get It Right with Atara Solutions, which is the program you're tuned in at. This is Get It Right with Atara Solutions, which is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. We do this every Tuesday from 8 o'clock, and I'm so excited about today's session. And because it's the International HR Day next week, we are going to have a panel discussion next Tuesday at 8 o'clock as well. And we're going to be hosting different HR professionals from different countries and just getting to demystify the entire conversation around multi-generational workforce. We are dealing with Gen Zs, we are dealing with baby boomers, we are dealing with millennials, we are dealing with all these people. So how exactly can we manage them? That's a conversation for next Tuesday. However, today, our conversation is very, very close to our hearts. And I like that you're talking about excellence in service delivery, because we actually are in service. Every HR professional, whether you work in a company that deals with a product, your work is in service, right? So we are very, very excited about that. And of course, with me is my co-host, Madam Catherine Sidandi. And I will be introducing Catherine Sidandi shortly. And by the way, if you want to become a sign language interpreter, or no, if you want to learn sign language, Catherine offers sign language classes at very affordable rates. You just need to get in touch with her, and she'll give you very, very good rates for sign language. But for now, allow us to give a shout out to our partners. We have a number of partners that we work with. Just 1 minute. I want to share my screen. And I see somebody, Vivian is from the participant computer sound share. Yes. Okay. So I see Vivian is from Ginger. I love Ginger. And I hope, Vivian, that you can visit, I don't know whether you visited Nile Front Cottages. That is located in Ginger, in Kampala, or rather, gosh, in Uganda. Ginger and Kampala are two different cities. It's like Mombasa and Nairobi. Okay, that's too far. It's like Naivasha and Nairobi, 1.5 hours drive, or 1 hour, thereabouts. So Nile Front Cottages are cottages located in Ginger. They are just near where Lake Victoria meets River Nile, and they have beautiful, beautiful views. And in Ginger as well, if you want to have the best ice cream or cookies, you need to visit a Skia restaurant, which is a restaurant, and the people who are in service there are those with hearing impairment. Please visit a Skia restaurant, and also take some time and go and spend a night or two at Nile Front Cottages. It is such a beautiful place to be at. Please visit them. And then we have Profiles International. If you're looking to become an emotional intelligence coach, they offer Genius Emotional Intelligence Coaching. Or you want to take advantage of psychometric assessments during your recruitment, then please get in touch with Profiles International. They have amazing, amazing services. And then we have K Square HR Services. K Square HR Services are our partners in Rwanda. If you're looking for HR consultancy services in Rwanda, then K Square HR Services will be the best people to partner with. If you have staff you're managing in Rwanda, then and you're looking to outsource your staff, then you can get in touch with K Square Services. If you're looking for training as well, they offer training as well. And we have partnered with K Square HR Services to bring to you the Africa Leadership Summit, which is going to be happening on 6th to 8th of August here in Nairobi. So be on the lookout for more details on that conference. It's going to be amazing for you HR professionals and for the people you manage. It's going to be amazing. We have Steadfast Quality Solutions. Steadfast Quality Solutions are your people. They offer HR consulting and public relations consulting services. Do you have a board that needs evaluation? Do you have a board that needs training? Are you recruiting board members? Then you need to enlist the services of Steadfast Quality Solutions. They are our partners in Kampala. If you're looking for HR consulting, if you're looking for public relations consultancy, if you're looking for people to support in your board evaluations, board trainings, and board recruitment, then Steadfast Quality Solutions are their people. Then this is headed by my good friend Herbert Zake. Herbert Zake is also a Gallup Strengths coach. He has coached over 500 executives. So if you're looking for a coach, then I would suggest that you get in touch with Herbert Zake from Kampala, Uganda. We also have AR Insurance for all your insurance needs. Are you looking for WIBA? Are you looking for medical? Are you looking for any insurance to support your employees? Then AR Insurance are your best bet. We have Hotel Sapphire. Hotel Sapphire is located in Mombasa. If you're looking for an amazing place to have some rest, to have a good time, to also host your conferences, then Hotel Sapphire located in Mombasa town would be your best bet. We have Tufaha Resort. Tufaha Resort is breathtaking. We actually had our road trip there on the 12th of April, which was so amazing. You need to visit Tufaha Resort, by the way. It is located in Nanyuki, and they have such beautiful facilities. You will love it. Are you a woodworker? Do you want to study woodworking? Do you know somebody who has interest in woodworking? Please let them sign up with Panessa Training Institute. They actually have their May intake ongoing. If you're looking to become a carpenter, or if you're looking to just get to learn how to work with wood, make your DIY stuff, then Panessa Training Institute, you can check them out on Instagram for more details. And then we have Port Saco. Port Saco, if you're looking for a Saco to join, then you need to join Port Saco. And then we have Sotet Kinyumbani. Sotet Kinyumbani is a restaurant located in Nanyuki. If you're looking for African food, you need to visit Sotet. If you're passing through Nanyuki, if you're in Nanyuki, if you're just visiting Nanyuki and you're looking for a place to have authentic meals, then you need to go to Sotet Kinyumbani and let them know that you had from Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. And I'm sure they will treat you like a queen or a king that you are when you go there, of course, with discounted rates. So let them know that you had them from our Tara Solutions, and I can tell you, your life will be better, right? And we also are introducing, Jacinta, if you can help me share our mentorship program for HR professionals who are moving from what do we call it? If you're moving from, you're a HR assistant or a HR officer and you want to move to managerial level, then you need to join our mentorship program. If you're a HR professional and you want to learn more about HR, then you need to join us. The class is starting from 2nd of July. We are going to be teaching you how to carry out HR audits, how to carry out or to develop HR policies. We are going to teach you how to do budgeting. We are going to teach you how to set up a HR department. We are going to teach you about HR reporting, performance management, discipline and employee separation, exams. We also have a certificate. We issue a certificate. It is a very practical session, I can tell you. You have the 8 weeks of this program are going to leave you much, much better. You're going to be more informed. You're going to be a better manager, or you're going to be ready for your next promotion. I can guarantee you. We are starting cohort 2 on 2nd of July. We are done with cohort 1, and I'm telling you, the feedback we've gotten is just amazing. Please take advantage of those sessions as well. And of course, don't forget the leadership summit that is coming up on 6th to 8th August here in Nairobi, and that's bringing together leaders from the entire Africa here in Nairobi. Now, of course, I talked about Atara Solutions, who is our main sponsor. Atara Solutions, a HR consulting and training company. If you're looking for support in your HR department, if you're looking for recruitment services, then we offer recruitment services. Please follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook to learn more about us. And of course, this is Get It Right with Atara Solutions. We upload every recording on our YouTube channel. And of course, with my co-host, Madam Catherine Sidandi, who is our sign language interpreter. If you're looking for sign language training, then you need to contact Madam Catherine Sidandi. And of course, normally we have Richard, but I think he'll be joining us shortly. And today we also have Jacinta as a co-host as well. So this evening, allow us to just jump right on to the conversation we are having today. And we have my good friend, Lisa Shaka. If you have never heard of Lisa, you need to go and check out our YouTube channel. We actually had a conversation with Lisa on goal setting, and it was such an eye-opener. So if you want to learn more on goal setting, please check out our YouTube channel. Lisa's session is there, and you will get to learn more. So Lisa is an experienced HR executive with over 16 years of leadership across international NGOs, private corporations, and government institutions. She's an expert in global HR operations, talent management, strategic organizational design, performance optimization, and fostering inclusive, impactful cultures. Recognized as one of Kenya's top 20 people disruptors 2023, dedicated to empowering talent to drive organizational and social transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, allow us to welcome Madam Lisa Shaka to take us through HR excellence. Lisa, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Grace. And thank you, Catherine and the team for hosting me today. Thank you to our over 100 attendees. Thank you for making time to have this conversation. And Grace, allow me to share that one of the things that we have been recognized for as a series for this session is the inclusiveness approach, whereby we're also taking care of the differently abled person. So it's kudos to you and your team. This month being Mental Health Awareness Month, allow me to start this session by sharing a few things. I'm a mental health first aider, so I will be doing a disservice if I don't share this. Leadership is about empathy. And empathy is not having all the solutions that you need to have. It's just being there and listening. There is also an aspect that has been a misinterpretation, a misconception about sleep, that sleep is for the broke. You stay strong. The aspect of having to rest is really important, and everybody needs to take care of themselves. And as we do that, we become mindful of others around us. And as a mental health first aider, one of the things that is really disturbing is the fact that the poverty level has been projected to be 30%. We are about 57.5 million Kenyans, and our median age is 20 years, and our average is 20 years. So when you are coming to a population that has an average age of 20 years, you can imagine the dynamics that will fall into our work environments. And Grace alluded to it about the workplace demographics. So as we design the culture, the systems for our workplaces, we need to be cognizant of what experiences our people are experiencing from all walks of life. All right, so I'll dive into this now. I'll try to project my presentation, and you'll tell me whether it's already showing. Am I
Yes.
good? All right, so we are going to have a conversation, and I like that Grace shared that you're going to have a conversation about HR at the core of elevating service through people, culture, and systems. For the last many years, the human resource has been seen as a support function, and allow me to speak to it as a core function, not a support function for any organization. When you hear a word architect, what do you get to think about? I don't know whether it's chat. I'd like to have at least 2 responses. Architect. When you get to hear about the word architect, what comes through your mind? Grace, I'm not able to see the charts. If you can check for me, if there's any response about architect. Or designing, I can see structure, drawings.
Yes, I call it design planner. Yes, yeah, framing,
Nice.
molding, framework. Oh, I've seen my friend Wafula Nabutola. Structure, designs, structural
Okay,
design. Hmm.
I like that. HR designs the infrastructure of an organization in a manner that it's able to deliver its services. So we are going to dive as HR as a strategic architect, and allow me to just do a slight run through on what service delivery is for alignment in terms of this context of the discussion. It's the provision of services to internal and external services stakeholders, and we are mapping the stakeholders, employees and our customers or consumers, depending on your context, to match their expectations, to have consistent standards and values, and to create value consistently and sustainably. So as HR professionals, as we get to design structures, and we usually say the structure has to align with the strategy, and then you have to have alignment in terms of the skills that you need. You enable service delivery by designing a target operating model that is fit for purpose. You shape the workforce readiness to ensure that the leadership is capable of driving that strategy to be able to deliver the mandate of the organization. Every interaction that we get to have is a reflection of internal alignment. And what I mean by that is every touch point speaks to the kind of service that we are going to have. And we have had conversations around people experience equals client experience. So if you have negative people experience, you are likely to have negative client experience. And allow me to borrow from the experience of Netflix. If you read the story of Netflix, and probably the Gen Zs will thrive here because they love freedom and the aspect of responsibility. And there was a trending video that went through about we are adults, we want to do, we will do the work when we want to do it. And there's an aspect whereby they want the level of freedom to execute. So that element of autonomy. So for Netflix, they got to build their culture around freedom and responsibility. Of course, with responsibility comes accountability. This means that the team had to design their culture around that to make sure that the performance and productivity measures are working for them to have that culture that can get to thrive. Because freedom and responsibility comes out as very vague, especially when you want to measure performance and productivity, or you want to make sure that you have tangible results from the team that you are supervising. So it means, even from a leadership perspective, the leaders were able to to maintain accountability, but release responsibility to the extent that they were able to allow their teams to be able to execute on their job. So that's building trust based on autonomy. When it comes to organizational design principles, we talk about systems thinking. That's systems, processes, people, and technology. How do you make sure that that links all together? And you can leverage on expertise within your team. So you do not have to work in isolation. So HR gets to build the environment, then trust top talent to be able to create the service of excellence that they need in that context. Let's then go find out what are the foundations that can be able to get this done. I'm trying to, the core foundations, yes. So we have the three core pillars that we speak to. And the three core pillars are the pillars that we work as HR professionals. And as we speak about HR professionals, I want to onboard people leaders. Any team member who supervises our team is actually an extension of the human resource department. So we have heard about the HR business partnering aspect, whereby we get to delve deeper to understand the business so that we design solutions that are aligned to the business needs. So in our processes of talent acquisition, this is a partnership whereby we seek to identify the right people with the right skills and the right culture fit. And then we seek to develop it so that they can be able to deliver on our strategy. So there is need to have that particular alignment. And Safaricom locally has been very good in terms of saying purpose-led talent strategy, whereby they identify it with the mission and goal so that there's ownership by the staff. And I'm hoping there's somebody from Safaricom here who can testify to that. There's a lot of ownership from the team, from the talent team, that the team, I mean the workforce in itself, they own the service delivery and it connects and they can be able to see the results that comes with it. We cannot underscore the employee engagement and retention, whereby we have trusted employees who are connected to the purpose, and that gets to define the culture. And we had a conversation some time back here, and we were talking about what are the desired behaviors and desired behaviors. And deep down, we'll talk about culture issues. I think there's something that we'll talk about the culture issues that tend to enable a culture that you desire or the kind of service excellence. Because with the culture, then you get to deliver the excellence that you need. From a performance management perspective, we are speaking about enabling accountability through dialogue. The aspect whereby our performance processes and systems and dialogue that we get to have with our team in terms of the framework, the setting of the KPIs, the reviews or the performance development conversations that we get to have are continuous, and that's why we call it a dialogue, to the extent that it's able to give insights so that performance reports, they're not like performance reports that come, but they are performance insights that inform talent development interventions. So as long as we get to involve our employees and empower them, then service delivery is definitely assured. So empowerment and systems thinking is the OD principle that we are saying that can be able to enable the human resource team and the people leaders to move from operational to transformational. So transformational, we cannot be able to do transformation with the skills of yesterday. We have to keep on learning for us to be able to evolve and match the skills analysis to the service requirement that is required for us to be able to deliver. Delving deeper to the framework for HR-driven service excellence. So we are saying that in terms of the service, we have identified the service, we have identified our values, we have our missions. There has to be strategic alignment between the service, the mission, and the outcomes, and clarity so that the team, as they execute, they are not executing without that alignment. We also speak about leadership and governance in terms of shared decision-making and transparent decision-making, whereby if we have a decision that needs to be done as the EXCO or senior management team, whatever team that you call your senior leadership team, they are able to make that decision as a team, and it's not thrown as a HR responsibility or a finance responsibility or an operations responsibility. You come together as a team and you are able to make decisions and share that decision and drive that mission together. There are some times that we have situations whereby, especially when we have employee discipline, there has been an observation that that tends to be a holistically responsibility of the human resource. But from a people leadership perspective, the first line manager ought to be able to drive that and own it and make the decisions and drive the responsibilities. But it's also how we get to equip them for them to be able to drive that confidently. So building their confidence to be able to handle people matters, and we'll speak to it in terms of people capability development. Culture definition and engagement. So once we are able to map out what kind of culture we have, then that culture becomes what drives our service within our organization, internally and externally. An important point is the culture starts at every touch point. So we say the leadership team at the CEO level, they own the culture, they speak it, they live it, they model it. We come to different departments, senior management level, they also own it, speak it, and model it. When we come to the teams below, they also do that. But there's one important aspect I like to mention. As a team leading the people in terms of the human resource team, you have also to have the right team. Having the right team means you have alignment in terms of what kind of service that you are supposed to deliver. For the CEOs, if you have CEOs who are in here, it's very important to make sure that your HR team is taken care of. Because whenever there is no synergy between the CEO and the HR team, there is likely to be a broken business. And the broken business comes in this aspect. We spoke about the three pillars. The three pillars that support service delivery. That's talent acquisition, which is a function of HR. We speak about performance management, which is also equally a function of HR. And we spoke about engagement and culture, which is something that the human resource drives, but they can't drive it alone. So if you are a people leader, there's that aspect of partnership with the human resource department to make sure that there's alignment and there's no blame shifting on whose responsibility it is. Because at the end of the day, when we are coming to having the scorecard for the organization in terms of the business objectives, we'll be able to check and say we didn't meet our top line, our bottom line, or we didn't meet our mandate that we are charged with. It becomes that it's the whole team that does not get to succeed. So that alignment is very important. And then a message to the HR teams. Do not allow yourselves to be divided when it comes to service delivery as a team. So you need to find a way of speaking the same language. And speaking the same language, I mean from an objectivity perspective. As you design the people solutions, your lenses need to be similar as you deliver the service. But if you have lenses which have a mix of blue and red and yellow, each people leader coming to you and asking for insights will get blue, red, and yellow. And that kills your credibility as a team. So it's very critical to have the right team and have alignment that you get to speak the same alignment. So we speak about digital enablement. So we are speaking about a country whereby we have high digital literacy levels with over 27 million internet users. So it means that the need for digital platform services is really high. So we shouldn't, in terms of our service delivery, we shouldn't be left behind in terms of how we design our services for our people. And I talk about employee self-service. In terms of accessibility, the ability to be able to access. So as we design systems that support our people, and our people, it's the staff, it means that we need to make them either mobile friendly, not that way you have to connect to the VPN first. And I know security is important, and cybersecurity is a key threat in the recent past, and I think it's growing with the AI coming in. However, as we design that with all the firewalls and whatever that we need to do to make sure our systems are secure, we need to have that look of making sure that the accessibility is there and we're able to serve our people within the digital platforms. And there are quite a number of digital platforms that can be used in terms of internal communications, in terms of people service delivery, from a performance management, from a project management perspective. The tools are available for us to be able to leverage on them so that we can improve our service delivery. This will allow us to able to give our people meaningful work. One of the biggest demotivators for staff is doing routine manual work day in, day out. So it doesn't give them the motivation. So as we think about business reengineering and automation and removing or leveraging on the AI, then we are saying we want to provide our people with meaningful work. And once you give people for an opportunity to do meaningful work, it means they are able to innovate or to be creative around how they get to deliver their work. Measurement and feedback. Yeah. So we say feedback allows us to be able to evolve and get better. So as we engage our teams, both leaders and team members, it's important to have that feedback and candid, constructive feedback. And one of the things that has been asked is, how do you get them to give feedback? And you know, different profiles of people, team leaders or team members will require different ways of giving feedback. It's getting to understand, investing in understanding your team or your teammates and understanding how they want to be communicated to so that they're able to listen to you. There are moments whereby you may pause feedback because the moment was not right. So if the moment is not right, then you will not be able to give that feedback. So as we share this, we are saying key pointers in this area is strategic clarity, shared leadership, a learning culture, and then having culture by design, not by accident, enablement, and this speaks with the digital aspect, but remember to have digital inclusion because you have the 20-year-olds in the workplace and you have the 49, 60 years old. I'm not saying they do not have digital skills, but they have different approaches towards work. And that's where we will have the conflict about work ethics between the Gen Zs and the boomers, because how we were brought up is different from how each generation has been brought up. And the tools available at different phases of life are different. So our leadership style has to adopt in a way that motivates team members or teammates to be able to deliver. And I know there's a bigger responsibility for the leadership team to be able to evolve faster to provide that guidance. So agility of an organization as we do service delivery, it's important to also to check out how ready are you in terms of evolving to that service delivery from an organizational agility perspective. So time to decision is one of the measures that you can be able to use to measure your agility index or change readiness index, innovation uptake in terms of the number of innovations done and how the uptake has been. And also you can add and say, what is the impact? I started that because agility feedback and the learning organization is something I want to talk about. We have a few cases, especially Unilever has had a very fluid way of doing things in terms of catching up with technology. So the technology aspect, and you can check out the case study for Unilever. If we have a Unilever staff here, please raise your hand and share your experience because we'll be able to learn it fast and then learning it from the data that we get to read. So that aspect where they are looking at the free contracts, whereby you can have contract, but you give them full-time benefits. It's something that I think in terms of restructuring the contracts to enable agility. We have a global world whereby everybody can be able to work anywhere. You'll be able to work. You're living in Kenya, but you're working for a company in Tanzania. I saw a few guys there from Tanzania and Eswatini, or you are working for a company in New Zealand. So that agility needs to be there and flexibility in terms of designing of our contracts so that you are able to execute And the systems whereby you can be able to do gigs from different organizations. And for organizations that are multinationals, that's an opportunity they're able to leverage on in terms of creating gigs. And you can have teams or agile teams that get to work on those gigs, constituted from different countries. They share experiences and the diversity within that team, the complexity, and they get to design very good solutions that can be able to allow organizations to be able to scale. But we cannot be able to do that if we are not able to address skills gap by data-driven training. How we design our training plan, we need to design it from the performance data, so that performance is not a report that we said we met our objectives, but we're getting that data and we are feeding it into our training plan. We are leveraging on the feedback that we get to have. We may consider seeking feedback from staff on our training approaches. And also, to the extent that we go to the peers and seek and say, what skill do you think I need to improve here? So you are getting a holistic view of your profile, and you're feeding it into the data that is being collected, so that you can be able to be nurtured as a whole person. So where we are able to cultivate safe failures and learning fast and improving, so that we have that culture of learning, because where we do not allow for experimentation, then we are not able to build that culture of learning and getting to grow. Key practices that would like to encourage in this journey, because we are learning so that you can be able to improve our service delivery or elevate our service delivery, have the feedback loops that inform service design. So as we do our service design across, because we are saying we are doing a service design, we are looking at what are the feedback loops. And it can be that people do not want engagement surveys because they don't feel they are anonymous enough. Then it may mean that we may need to have feedback rituals whereby people have conversations without having to submit it through an online form, or we make feedback something that is done frequently and we are able to address it on the go. Spaces for reflection and co-creation. This is an area whereby we explore and say, do we have departmental sessions or interdepartmental sessions where people share key pain points that get to affect team members and design solutions. And the other organizations are very good at stand-ups and identifying the problems on the go and being able to solve it on the go. So we are saying, as you do service excellence and as you architect both a partnership between the human resource team and the people leaders, and the people leaders are the team leaders, is designing the feedback loops. Learning organizations evolve through reflection and adaptations. So you reflect and ask yourself, as we have this conversation, what do you think is the pulse of your organization? And the pulse is like, what do employees feel? And the human resource has quite a unique role. And I was reflecting upon it and I was like, wow, we usually have, we are uniquely enabled to really handle this, because you act as an employee. First, you are an employee. Then on the other side, you are human resource. And then on the other side, other than the other roles that we hold, psychologist, therapist, lawyer, advocate, mediator, and all those other roles that we hold, you have to hold the role of a shareholder. You do have to have the shareholder's role, because you want also, because you are a shareholder and you want to take care of your people, including your CEO. So as much as you may be reporting to the CEO, you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders to be able to think through and say, how do we get the things right? Because when things don't get to work, they still come to your desk. So first, I want to appreciate all the HR professionals, because the role that you get to do is very complicated and very complex. But you have been able to push through, and we have a good number of HR professionals who have done an outstanding job in getting things right and working through. And trust me, for the CEOs or CFOs or the other professionals who are within this forum, when things are going to fall down, HR sees before they fall down. So take care of the HR teams in a way that they are also inspired to be able to deliver for you. Get to listen to them, provide them the audience to share insights, and sleep over the insights. Sometimes the insights may not be something that you want to listen to or to hear because you wanted to hear something different. But as you get to have those interactions with the human resource professionals, because they have a holistic view of the seen and unseen, the said and the unsaid, and they'll be able to give you insights that can help you make the right decision as you get to lead the business. So the leadership is a partnership, and we get to consult each other from different areas, from operations to finance to internal audits. And we love the internal audit guys because they no longer do the police work. They are more preventative, and they come and they give you insights and say, this is how you get to do things to avoid having priority one findings and all that. Okay. So elevating service delivery through OD and strategic HR. So we are saying there are other tools that you may be able to use. The conditions of service of excellence, you get to design them, and I've spoken about them. Service delivery is delivered through human capital, and human capital are the people. So the first employee, CEO. The first employee is the HR, the CEO, the other team members. As you think through the policies and you design the policies, make sure they are inclusive and they pro people, because you can never get it wrong if you take care of your people. OD tools that shape behavior and performance, because most organizations struggle in terms of how they get to design a performance management system that works. It's very easy to design a performance management that works as long as you get the strategy right, you get the mapping right, and you get the right team for them to be able to drive that performance. So that's why I keep going back and saying the strategic pillars, talent acquisition and development. Then you speak about the culture, then you anchor with performance framework that can be able to support that. So in terms of cultural alignment, you define model reinforced behaviors that reflect your service promise. So we have this conversation that we say to improve service delivery, don't start with the service, but start with the people who get to deliver it. And that's why we say you can never get it wrong if you have the right people that get to do it. So I will also anchor that with Peter Drucker's statement that says the task of leadership is to create an alignment where strengths in a way that makes the system weakness irrelevant. So the strengths are so aligned that the weaknesses become irrelevant. You are as strong as your weakest link. So what tools can you use for you to be able to continue to elevate service excellence as human resource professionals and people leaders and team members? So you need to have culture mapping. You need to have leadership coaching. And then you need to have the change navigation rituals. So when we speak about culture mapping, we are talking about what kind of culture do you want to have? What is accepted formally and informally, especially informally, and what is not accepted. Leadership coaching, we are in a season whereby we have a very turbulent work environment globally and locally and globally. And this is where I also like giving an example in terms of key talent, especially when we are getting to hire specific strategic positions. It can be the CEO, it can be the human resource, it can be the CFO. In key organizations, they get to affect the currency. Yeah. So by the time the Americans decided to hire Trump as the president, there was a fluctuation in currency. Yeah. And there are certain decisions that got to affect everybody globally. There was a kind of an appreciation with the Canadian dollar, or there's some form of stability with the Canadian dollar after they got the new prime minister. So it's something that we take lightly, but there are organizations whereby the kind of leader that you get to appoint affects the culture. Actually, it's all organization, affects the culture, affects the whole vibe, all the levels of leadership. So how we get to identify the leaders who get to lead through in terms of the foundation of leadership, then is important. But what can we do to shape those leaders is the leadership coaching. And the leadership coaching, I would like to encourage that leadership coaching needs to be at a level whereby you also empower them with resilience and the aspect of wellness, because the leaders cannot be able to serve if they are not okay. And that's where wellness comes in. There's an excerpt from another program, which is called the Egg at the Top. And it usually says, it's okay to let it down. The silent weight that the leaders hold. So in one of the modules, there's a lot of conversation around how then do you want that weight? How do you get to hold that weight and carry it through and still survive at the end? So it's through leadership coaching and building the leader's confidence also to be able to handle mental wellness issues within an organization so that they're able to walk through and be able to lead your team and empower them to be able to do that. When you're speaking about the change navigation rituals, these are informal sessions that the teams get to have and share about a particular transition and how it impacts them. So you can have small groupings and they get to share openly. So there's psychological safety for the team to share. In terms of a certain change, it can be a system change. You are using SAP, you've decided to move to Pape, or you are using an ERP and you've decided to just even a basic system change, even a basic team leadership change is an impact to, it's a transition for the team. So having those navigation rituals, they get to share how they feel. So we need to make it normal for people to share so that we can be able to get candid feedback that can make change feel okay and human. So change needs not to feel so computer-based to the extent that the change feels human. So it's culture by design and not by default. So on to the final stitch. This is just the first pattern that we are doing. We are saying as you work to elevate service excellence, you need to engineer capability. Capability speaks to all the learning champions in the room or people who like improving their skills, getting better every day. So engineering capability that it reviews each service point and say what kind of skills are needed. There's a program called 365. It uses AI in terms of identifying skills. So it speaks about skills autonomy. It's very complicated. I'm still learning about it as well. So I saw that it's a very good program when it comes to uh, designing capability and saying these are the kind of skills that we need. Shaping culture, and we spoke about the shaping of the culture, designing people system that deliver. So for this, we are speaking about fit for purpose target operating model in terms of the structures. And remember, as always, the structure has to align with the strategy. Performance frameworks. So the kind of structure that you use in terms of setting KPIs, are they outcome-based or impact-based KPIs? So that it's not a chain of activities that people have to run and finish. Feedback, embedding feedback in it. We cannot do this without workforce planning, demand, supply, forecasting, and be able to identify where there are gaps. Within this, you also have to do succession planning and making sure that you have critical succession covers. In terms of critical roles, you identify and you say 20% of our roles are critical, and no matter what, we must have successors for those critical roles because they are the drivers for the organization and there are roles that you may not be able to do without. Driving change readiness, now that we have the change is constant, everything is changing every day. So it's how do we make sure that there's readiness in change and how do we make sure that our organization is ready for that change? So we say the change navigation rituals, and building resilience and adaptive mindsets, because change needs an adaptive mindset. So in our training, design, and as organizational needs, then we need to map intentional and deliberate programs that support that. Of course, well-being and leadership programs. I cannot overemphasize about the well-being. Leaders, it's okay to remove your masks. It's okay to remove that bulletproof mask, vest of saying, I am a strong leader, I am not vulnerable. Allow yourself to be vulnerable to your team and build a relationship with your team as you build them also, because whatever that they get to see you do is what they also get to do. I have spoken about change navigation rituals. We say engaged employees, engaged service. So we are saying anchoring everything on engagement and purpose. Once people connect to the purpose, you will not have to follow them to do what they are expected to do for them to deliver. Employee experience, then matching it with desired client experience, and then modeling psychological safety so that employees feel it's safe to innovate. That they will fail, yes, but they will learn from the failure. So we say there is no failure, there are only lessons. And in sharing that, I'm saying the HR does not run service, it engineers the ecosystem in which service thrives. Thank you very much for listening to me. I know this was a high level, quick webinar for us to be able to share and learn together. Still looking forward if I can get a Unilever or a Safaricom staff who can share about their talent strategy around purpose-led talent strategy for Safaricom. For Unilever, it's about the involvement of the tech, the solutions, the design thinking around, the HR design thinking around the tech solutions and innovation for scale. Okay, thank you very much. Grace, you are a good moderator. I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you, Liza. I love this. And I, you deliver in such an articulate way. I was just over here thinking, are you guys doing a check on how you're performing based on this conversation that we are having today? Because if you haven't, then you really need to revisit this recording and actually just get to understand and measure. You know, it's not enough to just listen. It's also important that you also see what you can apply in your organizations and also just gauge where you are in the conversations that we are having here. And if you have any question, it's time to put it on the Q&A. And at this point, allow me to take on Ms. Dama's question. What strategic approaches can HR use to achieve this alignment where top leadership are lukewarm or have conflicting interests and priorities? So how do you handle conflicting interest and priorities? And maybe we can combine with how do we involve the very mature employees in the agility aspect? How do we involve the very mature employees in the agility aspect? That is an interesting question, and I hope it can come next Tuesday as well when you're discussing multi-generational workforce. And then maybe the third one is Lisa has remained and is remaining as one of the difficult things to implement in organization. Would you please share your experience and suggestions on how to go about it? You may need to tell us what that is. I don't know what you're referring. Oh, succession planning has remained and is remaining as one of the most difficult things to implement in some organizations. Would you please share your experience and suggestions on how to go about it where there are blocks? We can take those ones.
We can check those ones.
Yeah.
I'll pick the first one. Thank you for the question. Strategic alignment where there's conflict, misaligned priorities. You can have, in my experience, sometimes when you have misaligned priorities, it means even the strategy is not there. You are not reading from this. There's completely no alignment at every level. So it's difficult if the team is not bold to have the conversations, because it requires the teams to be bold and vulnerable to have the conversations. However, some of the strategies that as human resource we can adopt and use is because those appears to be systemic issues. And one of the strategies I've used before is systemic coaching. So systemic coaching is where you have the entire leadership team have a conversation and say what is working and what is not working by a safe facilitator, and they get to share openly. So it can be uncomfortable, and if you cannot be uncomfortable, you can not be able to improve. So it's where you have the team and openly share that we are going to have an uncomfortable conversation, and this uncomfortable conversation is going to help us to be able to scale, improve ourselves. And this is it, and sometimes you can even ask something and you say, this is from my understanding, even though because you get to understand the other stakeholder. But one of the things I would like to encourage all HR professionals is to try as much as possible and build a relationship with the CEOs and the leadership team. So try as much as possible to have allies who get to speak for you. Where you may not have allies who get to speak to you, especially where there's that strategic misalignment, is get a training that gets to deliver and unpack some of those things. And let the training be provocative on the things that may be affecting you as a team, so that it doesn't look like it's targeted to specific individuals. I hope that would help you deal with that. But in case you would like us to have a conversation, we can be able to have a deeper conversation to get to understand the full context. In terms of mature employees embracing agility, that's a tough one, but they're the best to be able to adopt. And you know how you get to involve them? They have a lot of wisdom and they have a lot of knowledge. So make them be part of the team. So being part of the team, they're almost like supervisors, team leaders, they're collecting information. Because of their level of maturity, they can get to consolidate the team and pick. And you can also coach them in a way that as they do this project, you even do a specific coaching for a project that they are going to run, especially if it's a technology project. I have found that those mature employees are very wise first. They are very knowledgeable. So you also get to have some knowledge management in it, that they also feel like they are valued members of the team. Why they would resist, establish why they would like to resist, is when they feel that they're becoming irrelevant. Make them relevant, give them assignments, and give them the autonomy to be able to lead the team, and with somebody who is technically sound on the other side to be able to learn from. The other aspect that you can get the mature employees to feed into any other strategy that you are feeding is give them team members who get to learn from them. And I had Grace speaking about the mentorship program. So attaching that mentee to that person, they have that responsibility to build that person. And I understand it's not everybody who can be a mentor to. So you get to understand their profile. If you know this is a technical, mature person who will give me wisdom, give them that. So see what is it that you can leverage more and make them relevant. Succession planning. It's interesting that it can be the easiest, yet the most complex. It can be the most complex where the organization design is not done right. So when I speak about the organizational design, it's your operating model, your organizational structure. So as you do the organizational structure, as an architect, you are looking at it from all those aspects. And where you start from is, do you have career paths, like a blueprint of the career path that can be able to help you move step by step? And the government has done very well, and they call it career guidelines. So they articulate on each level what kind of skills you need, What kind of qualifications do you need for you to be able to move to the next level? The private sector, they have an advantage, and even the NGOs or the community development organizations or global organizations, you have a bigger opportunity because you can even explore mobility in terms of succession planning. So mobility is whereby you say you have a talent pool that is open to mobility. They can move from Eswatini to Kenya, from Kenya to Uganda at different levels. So being able to identify each experience qualification for each cadre in terms of the roles, identifying the roles and having that built in within it as a career path blueprint, and then embedding it within the organizational structure in terms of the design, then doing talent audits, and this can be done biannually, and saying, is there anybody who's fallen off? And remember, you can do succession planning internally or externally, because in some fields, it's very difficult to have a cover. You know, there are those ones where you can say, and it's not wrong not to have a cover. So sometimes you can judge yourself and say, because I don't have a cover internally, I have failed. No, you haven't failed. So as long as you are able to identify talent internally or externally, who can be able to support you at different levels, you just need to keep them warm, yeah? And keeping them warm is having a conversation with them that, I'm not saying you come now, but would you be interested in having a conversation with us? We are looking at this role, not immediately, but you're checking how warm the candidate is to your. Where there are blocks, it's whereby you have vested interests. And it can also speak to the recruitment practices. Where you get to hire wrong, you'll always get problems when it comes to succession planning, internal promotions, internal mobility, work performance. So you cannot even use performance data to be able to manage succession. We also get it wrong when we try as much as possible to promote good performance. So having your succession or talent analysis from a succession perspective, linking aspiration, potential, and agility. Actually, agility has been one of or change agility. So I have been privileged to work in organizations whereby I have been exposed to talent assessment from a succession management perspective that considered that aspiration, ability, and potential. So there can be situations whereby the ability is these are key contributors, they stay where they are, and they do not have potential. There are those ones that you can identify and they stretch and develop. And there are those ones who either, depending on where they sit within the talent grid, and for the 9-box grid, for those ones who like blending it with other succession tools, you can be able to say, if somebody is an emerging leader, then they need leadership development for them to get to this place. And biannually, if it's possible, you can actually do it quarterly. You check, is it a red, is it an amber, is it a green in terms of the pulse, their engagement levels, are they motivated with what they are doing? So that we continuously have stay conversations rather than having exit interviews. It's usually very embarrassing for us to have exit interviews when somebody has already checked out. And probably they checked out 1 year ago. They were looking for an opportunity that came now. That's the time they resigned and stayed. So succession planning, yes, it's very complicated, but if you have thoroughly considered in terms of the right recruitment process, the right organizational design, the right skills mapping, then you will actually be able to enjoy doing it and don't feel that you have failed in situations where you do not have an immediate successor. That is an opening for you to say, then where do I get this skill, especially for the critical skills? Somebody asked about intentional. I was reading through and there were quite a number of comments. How do you become intentional? I just want to try and not avoid to say it's intentional. It's being particularly very considerate of the current situation that you have and designing a solution to make sure that that situation that you have is solved. To make like it's so deliberate and intentional is the same. Huh? Yeah, but it's so deliberate, intentional, and it's keen to see the solution come through. So the semantics, I don't know that there are linguists here. That person must have been a linguist. Yeah, I hope I've responded to the questions. I wrote some.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have, Lisa, you can remove screen sharing so that we can see you better on
Okay.
your full screen, and also it works for YouTube. Now, for those who are asking for the notes, we normally share the recording, and you can watch the recording and also make your own notes from your understanding. We normally don't share the presentation like that, so you can always do that. So now I see we have a few minutes to go, and so we can actually take maybe one or two questions. Where can we watch this? We normally have in previous sessions. Our YouTube channel is Get It Right with Atara Solutions. You can just go type in there. There's a lot. We've done this since 2020 June. And you can imagine we are here every Tuesday. So there's a lot of information there that you can catch up on. And then how do you cultivate good culture in the organization when the leadership is not aligned? I think we've talked about that. And then Eda is saying, how do we help people who have founder syndrome in an organization, Liza?
Sorry, I didn't catch that question. I was reading through.
How do we help people who have founder syndrome in an organization? Founder
Oh,
syndrome.
founder syndrome. Oh, good.
Hmm.
Oh, God. Oh, God. That's a good question.
Yeah,
Um,
and then there is an interesting question. Maybe you can combine.
mhm.
And guys, if you can be able to post the questions on the Q&A, it makes work easier because the chat can be very busy and we can miss out. But there's a Damali Guanza who's saying, what do you do to get the team 90% of staff to attend company engagements willingly and also to participate?
Mhm.
Uh, Pauline, you can post your question better on the chat so that I can understand it. And then there's somebody who's asking, which AI courses did you mention that we can use in HR processes? You mentioned 365.
Okay. It's a program called 365. I feel like that one I should just share. It's an AI skills assessment and it's called 365.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take the other questions.
Okay. So the first question was the founder syndrome. This happens a lot where we have team members who are long serving. Let me say that. They are critical members of the team first. We must acknowledge that. But due to the length of service, they have built like an inheritance. So their heart, their mind, that's like their second home, or if it's not their first home. So understand them first that this has been an investment for the years of service they have invested. And this becomes almost like mama and baba for them. So it's a big deal for them. Um, Usually, if they are in senior positions, they may have a tendency to feel more important than other team members, whether they are at the same level or they are in different levels. So it's being able to identify their traits first, their fears. Their fear is definitely becoming relevant. And you will notice that those people, whenever they retire, they actually become very frustrated. So look at them as people who need help first, not the people who are problematic. So if you change your mindset and looking at them as people who need help from that context I've explained, because they feel they own it. And anytime that is threatened, they These are discomforts that they get to experience. So for them not to feel that, give them some element of safety that they're valued member of the team. However, you give them other responsibility in terms of now that they are valued, make them busy so that they are not destructive. Because founders, when they have time, they will be very destructive. And remember, founders have a following. They are very influential. And if I can marry that with the staff participation, yeah, if they say, because you will get that those finders have informal groupings and setups. If they say, and they guide a few guys that there is a riot, we are not going to respond to the HR survey. Trust me, your response rate will be very low. So it's taking care of them from that perspective, but also having candid conversation with them on why you would like them to behave in a different way. There are very good candidates for leadership coaching. And for them, let it be about their legacy. Their legacy in terms of people leadership. What would you like to be remembered for? Then once they share what they would like to be remembered for, try to link that to your talent development strategy, to the kind of issues that you would like to solve, and then make them in charge of solving those issues. As you do that, give them attributes that define the culture that you want. Yeah. We mentor the people that we get to lead. So give them the attributes because you are trying to mind shift. So the mind shift is where the desired behaviors become the gospel of the gospel that you get to preach to that people. If you blend all that plus leadership coaching and having those courageous conversations and making them feel like they're still valued members of the team. However, things may need to be done differently than they want them to be done. From staff participation, I think that was the second question that I like to check. Even staff not participating, that's feedback. So do not belabor about that. You would like people to give you feedback voluntarily. Don't force them. So them not giving you feedback may mean you need to use a different approach to get feedback. In one of the organizations I've worked for, we have had, and if my colleagues are here, they will be able to share, we've had something that we call collaboration jam. So the collaboration jam was participating from countries' perspective, and there was a semi-competition on which countries most, and the moment you unite Kenyans, that's one sure way of getting participation. And in that participation, it's coined with some element of feedback, strategy, culture, learning and development, all the elements of HR. So you design a question and then you have water cooler conversations. Not serious conversations, but they're serious conversations. Because the moment you have very, very serious conversations, you'll not be able to have feedback. So I have found such kind of initiatives being able to help in terms of getting staff participation at higher levels, but not getting staff to participate. That's already feedback in terms of what is the engagement levels. And you may need to adopt focus group sessions, whereby you have smaller groups and you share and you say, what do you think about this? And one of the things I would like to find a way of discouraging is, as HR teams, do not be the ones sharing the engagement surveys. Sometimes appoint a team member and you say, this is the employee engagement ambassador for this year, and they will be coordinating feedback for us. You will do the background work, but they will be the front person to champion that. So it's one way of making it not to be a HR affair and become a business affair in that context. Okay, I hope that would help.
Yes, 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 yes. I think there's a question by Pauline, which is going to be our last question. And if you are following us, you can check the YouTube link that has been shared on the chat. How do we address the issue where a manager takes or seeks favors from incompetent staff, thus demoralizes the competent team members and the HRM is aware?
Okay. That's a loaded question.
Quite.
So if I'm getting right, is managers seeking favors from incompetent staff rather than competent staff?
Yes.
Okay. First, seeking favors is wrong. It sounds something like something's really wrong, but I'm assuming the question is around, if I rephrase it, the person who asked can help us clarify this question, is where managers either kind of favor less competent staff over competent staff, and that makes the competent staff demotivated or demoralized. So if I take it from that angle, it means first is that's one of the foundations of creating workplace conflict and a toxic work environment. So I would encourage that depending on who the person is, if you are senior than that person, you can actually have a conversation around it. If you are a team member, I wouldn't say you raise it as a grievance, but you raise it as a concern because a grievance is really beyond. Now, if you raise it as a concern, it comes something that can be handled in a confidential way that can be able, it can come as a way of enabling the team leader to know their areas of strength and weaknesses. Feedback, the 360-degree feedback can be one of the areas whereby that information can be collected and the HR can be able to address it from that perspective, because then you get, and I know Culture Amp is good. Culture Amp is one of the employee engagement platforms that you can be able to use. It can give you feedback both qualitatively and quantitatively. So when you pick, even when you design your feedback tool, you look out for those pointers that can be able to give you themes around what are the people issues. So I'll classify this under people leadership issues and find a way of designing a solution, because this is just one of the symptoms of bad leadership. So it means there are other things that may not be visible to the team members or to the other team members. So it's how do we then enable this team member understand their areas of growth, like the area that has been outlined, and enable them to be better team leaders. It may be a bit complex because you do not want to have it as conflict and combative and aggressive. You want it to work for the team. So you want the team to be better than you found them. So if you're a HR team member and managing this as a situation, then I would encourage you to approach it from an aspect of a training need, and also having a conversation with the team member, and this has worked. Thereby you call the team member and you ask them, what do you think about your team? So you have feedback, but you also want to see whether the manager is aware about what happens within their team. So you will ask them what they think about their team, what is working, what is not working. And you can even make it almost like a talent audit. And you ask them, what are the strengths of, if you were to identify strengths for these team members, what will be the strengths of these team members? What will be the areas of growth? What are the aspirations of these team members? You're provoking also the team leader to think around their team. And in that conversation, you will find a way of saying, do you think your team is motivated, and what would be the greatest demotivator for your team in your own assessment? So you're having like almost a coaching conversation with the team member, but also helping you to give you additional insights to be able to dissolve the issue.
All right. So I know we can be here all night and allow us to not get there. And I hope that we've answered most of the questions at least. and for the person who asked about motivation, I think Lisa has talked about it. Please, keep it here. It's International HR Month as well as it's mental health. So next week we have International HR Day on Tuesday. So we will have a session here. And then the other Tuesday, we are going to be discussing a mental health topic. And the other Tuesday, because it's International Coaching Week, we are going to have a coaching a session with a coach. So May is actually set. Make sure you're here every Tuesday from 8 o'clock. We shall be here having some serious, interesting conversations. Lisa, you have delivered this one very, very well. I love listening to you and I really enjoy. But parting shot before we can close this. Parting shot.
My parting shot is on mental health. So,
Okay.
because I think most of the things that get to happen in our workplaces may be as a result of the total wellness of the individual. We got lucky this year, early this year, I think. The penal code, I think section 226, the one that indicated that
Criminalizes
suicide.
suicide. Yes.
Yeah, yes, the decriminalization of suicide as
Yeah.
a crime or something that somebody can be charged for was a good step. I would encourage everyone as my parting shot to be kind to self first, take care of themselves, and additionally to just even if it's this month, offer yourself to be kind to one other person. Just in terms of support of the Mental Health Awareness Month. I appreciate everybody for making time. I enjoy having these kind of conversations. Asante sana.
All right. And maybe you can share your email address. I see people asking. You can type it on the chat.
Oh,
Your
and one
email
thing about
address.
me, I am the only remaining Yahoo person. So one fact about me is I love Yahoo. So my email is my first two names, lizashaka@yahoo.com. So every other time I'm giving my email, everybody's like, "You're using Yahoo," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." So I'm good all Yahoo. I'll tell you why, but if I say it openly, Google may hear and make money out of it. So I'll keep it quiet.
All right, all right, all right. And of course, you can always get in touch with us and we'll link you up with Lisa to make your work easier, maybe. But yeah, I wish my former HR would join this platform because she's the reason I am currently studying HRM. Please share with her the links. I mean, we welcome everybody. This is for everybody. And I see my good friend Richard is here. He was in Naivasha today. Richard, I hope you brought some fish for us. Maybe you can say hello as we come to a close. Richard, are you able to? I don't know. Okay. I think he's here, but yeah, he's had a long day. So thank you so much, Lisa. This was amazing, and as always, you have delivered, delivered, delivered. I love it. And to you guys, if you have heard, please go and practice. It is very, very important. Not just be hearers, but also doers. So please go, 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 and make sure that you implement everything that you've learned here today, or at least one or two things actually. And to you, Lisa, thank you very much. Catherine Sidandi, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. You guys, please sign up for our mentorship program, which is coming up in the next couple of weeks in July. And by the way, we even have the flyer with UGX. Last cohort, we actually had Tanzanians and Ugandans join the whatever the mentorship program. So please do not be left behind. Join us. It happens online. And we are hoping that at the end of the year, we're going to have a physical session where all the mentees will come and join us in our end of years. We celebrate them and the impact they will have made in their organization. So please sign up for this program. Get to understand if you're a HR practitioner transitioning into the HR management roles, this is definitely for you. We are going to teach you how to rise into the next level of your leadership capabilities on terms of HR and its technical operations and how you can stand out in terms of value addition and in terms of HR excellence that Lisa has talked about. So please join us, and thank you so much, our audience, for joining us. Please follow us on Instagram at Ara Solutions, like our Facebook page at Ara Solutions, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Get It Right with Atara Solutions, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Get It Right with Atara Solutions, and connect with us on LinkedIn at Atara Solutions. My name is Grace Nzula. Of course, I'm your host, and I look forward to seeing you next week on Tuesday as we discuss multi-generational workforce. It's International HR Day, and I think one of the things we've been dealing with in the last couple of months or years is how to manage the younger generations, the older generations, and how is millennials managing Gen Zs and all these things. We're going to be having that conversation next Tuesday from 8 o'clock. We're going to be here on Zoom. Please look out to our YouTube channel. You can also join our WhatsApp group. I'm sure Jacinta shared the link on WhatsApp, and we can get to continue with conversations on our WhatsApp. You can also get to learn what's coming up next on Atara Solutions. So thank you so much. And of course, we have the leadership conference coming up in August. Please join us in August. We have a leadership conversation here in Nairobi from the 6th to 8th of August. So please sign up for all those and keep growing, keep doing your best, and we look forward to growing together. So thank you very much for being with us, and have yourselves a lovely, 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 lovely night.